you talk about not wanting to be injured anymore, the role you were in WWE was a pretty good role to not get injured anymore, like to be a manager.
Yeah, but I was also 21 years old. I had a different brain back then.
Yeah.
I
But
had a different kind of drive.
would you want to go back into that role? It's like it's an interesting, it's an interesting scenario because you're like, I don't want to get injured anymore,
Yeah.
which means less wrestling would probably reduce the risk of getting injured.
Yeah.
But then maybe you don't want to be in a managerial role. Well, then it's
Yeah.
like, well, then that increases the risk of possibly getting injured.
Yeah. I when I got put in that role, it was very confusing for me. It was very confusing. It was very frustrating.
But you also get the rub of a top guy then,
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
There's a lot of pros to it.
I think it was confusing for me. I didn't really know how to wrap my head around what was actually happening. Things were just moving so quickly. I feel like I didn't really have a chance to think to myself or just have a grasp on, why I feel so upset. And I think getting older and not being in that environment anymore, just realizing, I just got signed to WWE. I'm 21, 22 years old. I was able to get signed here without like really a tryout or anything, but I got noticed because of my wrestling.
Yeah. In Ring of Honor.
In Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And then when you get told to be in a speaking role, and mainly just like a speaking role, I feel like I'm still so hungry athletically, and I feel like I just got to this place where, I've always wanted to be. I grew up an athlete my entire life. Feels like I should be an athlete. Feels like I should be doing something physical, and I made it somewhere, at the top of this mountain, doing something physical and being the best at doing something physical. So when that physicality kind of got like chopped from underneath me at 21, 22 years old, I didn't grow up like 4, 5, 6 years old saying that I wanted to be a manager in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I also got a little scared and nervous that, okay, this is going to be my legacy in WWE. Like I worked so hard, so many years to try to be a professional wrestler in WWE.
Yeah.
And then that stamp of like, okay, you're a manager. And I didn't really know how to sit with that. I was making decent money. I was out there with Bobby Lashley, a guy that I, grew up watching and admired still to this day. And
What do you think's the biggest thing you learned from Bobby and spending that much time with him in WWE?
I think the biggest thing that I got reminded of, I give all the praise and props in the world to my late trainer, RJ Meyer, the bruiser who passed away, unfortunately, to leukemia. But he used to tell me all the time, as well as another trainer of mine, that this business is a marathon, not a sprint. And I would always replay that quote in my head. And I knew what it meant, but I feel like I needed to go through something within wrestling to make me truly understand what that meant. And I think being with Bobby, seeing the things that he accomplished, seeing that he left, WWE, came back, is still, flourishing, still has a healthy career and everything, showed me that it's a marathon.
Yeah. He's
it's a
15 years older than you.
Yeah.
So think of what you could do between now and 43.
Yeah, like it's all about longevity and getting the most out of what you're presented, because it might not always be like that. I feel like I definitely made the most out of being a manager for Bobby. I feel like it helped me in so many ways that I just wasn't even thinking about or going into it, not realizing that, man, this is going to help my talking so much
Yeah, you cut a great promo.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I was never a promo guy on the independent circuit before getting signed. You know, I was just always that young kid, like, oh, this is Lio Rush, it's the new kid. Look what he can do in the ring, stuff like that. I mean, I can talk. I wasn't like stumbling over my words or anything like that, but I wasn't making people feel anything. I feel like I didn't really have a voice.
Yeah.
And I feel like being in WWE, being so attached and invested into a specific character, helped me find a voice or showed me how to find
Yeah.
a certain voice.